What is a futurist? And in parts, having a job title like this is a little bit a privilege of leaving the corporate world, so you can sort of make it up. This was provided to me by others, I will say. It happened totally accidentally in my instance. But one of the chief scientists at Microsoft, there are many, many ways to slice this data, but he describes being a futurist as sort of 4 different types here. Folks who are advisors, folks who are creators, people who spend a lot of their time simply doing speaking, and then predictors, right? So people who have access to resources, people who are simply out on the internet saying blah, 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 whatever might be coming to mind. And through all of this data and all of this explanation, I boil it down to really 2 things. And neither is better or worse than the other, but it helps, certainly for me, it helps frame the structure of what it is that we're talking about. There are a lot of folks who push forward from the past into the future. So what do the data, what do our assumptions, what are the things that we already know tell us about what will unfold? And then there are other folks who go out here to the edge of trends and potential disruption and utopian and dystopian futures and say, okay, with all of this change that we see here on the horizon that makes the world a different place, what would that mean for us in the moment today? And I am much more of that second bucket, right? I fall into that second bucket of time. How can we understand all of these trends and big shifts and potential outcomes and actually turn that into stuff we can use right now instead of waiting for it to unfold to us and for us and with us? And with that, I like to play with my work a lot. I sort of look at it as this strategic alchemy, or how we transform the lead of trends into the gold of tangible results and structures and frameworks that we can utilize right now. And one of my favorite tools to do this, right? So I don't like to invite anybody or any organization to do something that I haven't tried myself, is a lot of work as a bit of a mad scientist. And as such, experiments, and by the way, this is looking from a meta sense, this is one of the tools that you can utilize to help understand and thrive in what's happening in the future. You run a whole bunch of experiments. And so I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation that in August of 2016, this is when I really started to dive deeply into that. And with the impact of technology and work in our working world, the shift in global workforce population, potential economic shifts, I thought, what better thing to do than to run an experiment where I would put everything that I own into a suitcase, travel the world, excuse me, everything that I own into a storage unit, traveling only with a suitcase with a carry-on, to go and search for answers to the question, how might we empower our success in the face of great uncertainty and disruption, or really what are we going to do with all the people? And that began in January of 2017, and I discovered a lot on the road, right? Putting my own life to a certain extreme of uncertainty, learning from those who are creating the technologies that are creating the disruption, learning from those who are experts in economic dynamics, and then learning from those who are masters at managing change. And to do that, so what was sort of the general view that I saw? Because none of our thinking, none of our strategies, none of our own positioning inside of this conversation of the future of work exists in a vacuum. So if we can understand the broader economic context or the big paradigm shifts that are occurring, then we can make better and better informed decisions.